I'm Dana Moriello, and you're listening to This Is a Thing, the podcast where I interview entrepreneurs who started unusual businesses and found success on their own terms. We talk about how they got their wild ideas, how they decided to act on them, and how those ideas have grown. Today, we're talking to Chris Turner, founder of the Ring Finders. My best friend lost her wedding ring a few weeks ago and came across the Ring Finders in her search. And that's how I got Chris on my radar. It turns out my friend's story isn't unusual. Thousands and thousands of people lose things that are important to them each year, and when their own searches fail, they call in the professionals. That's Chris. What started as a hobby for Chris evolved into a growing business. Not only does he search for missing rings and other loved objects, but he maintains a network of 300 treasure hunters across 18 countries who collectively have found over 18,000 things. Chris's passion for what he does is so obvious in this interview. It's infectious. Enjoy. Chris, you are endorsed on LinkedIn for treasure hunting. And I don't think I've ever seen that endorsement on LinkedIn before. So I have to say that was my favorite find in researching your background. How did you first get the itch to start searching for treasure?
It started at a young age. I was like 12 years old back in 1972. I saw a metal detector in a Field and Stream magazine of my father's. And I asked my dad what it was, and he said, it's a metal detector. And I said, what does it do? And he says, it finds treasure. And I go, I want one. He goes, get a job. So I worked all summer at a chicken farm to buy my first metal detector, and I was hooked.
What hooked you?
Well, just the lure of the thought of finding buried and hidden treasure. What kid wouldn't want to do that? I was in the backyard searching for stuff my dad had buried for me to find. And this elderly lady, next door neighbor, she was in her garden. She's looking and she goes, Christopher, what is that? I go, it's a metal detector. And she goes, what does it do? I go, it finds treasure. And I was all excited. She goes, could it find a ring? And I looked at her, I said, yeah, it could. And she was kind of like thinking. She goes, well, I lost my ring 10 years ago in my garden. So I went up there and I found her ring. I go in her garden and I'm sitting there, I get a signal and I dig down and I pull this ring out. And I remember wiping it on my pants, looking at it, and I looked at her and I handed it to her. And she just stood there. She couldn't take her eyes off of it. And she didn't say anything to me. I just went back to the yard and I started detecting, having fun. Well, the following Friday, there was an apple pie on my doorstep with a note thanking me so much. And for a year, every Friday, I had a homemade apple pie. It was just so much fun to be out in fields and searching and relic hunting and finding old silver coins, the odd gold ring, and just the dream of finding something that was lost for years and years just drove me to pursue this beautiful hobby.
And when you think of treasure hunting, do you think of it as a hobby, a side hustle, business? How has your categorization of what it is in your life evolved since that first moment?
Strangely, it's become a job now, and it's a job I wish I would have grasped at a younger age. I played professional soccer. I played for my country. I played in a North American soccer league for 7 years. I put the metal detector away, but once my career was over, I picked it back up, and I've never put it down. So I'd be at a beach in LA, and somebody would run up and say, my God, please help. My wife lost her ring. It's like, yeah, no problem. And I'd go out there, I'd find it, and these people are pulling their wallet out, giving me everything they have. I'm like, no, I don't want any money. They're like, you're taking it. And you don't know what this means to us. And they're walking away, and I'm thinking, wow, that's crazy. And then I lived in Cancun, Mexico for a year, and the same thing was happening there. It was probably the fourth or fifth time I realized there's something here. There's a need here. And I came back to Canada and I started working on a little company called Finders. It was a small company to help people in Vancouver. This was before computers. So really, it was word of mouth. The lifeguards supported my service, and I was getting maybe 2 or 3, 4 calls a year. And it wasn't much. Then the internet came, and then it just exploded. I've always been good at getting free press because what I do is such an unusual service. It's a feel-good service. It warms your heart when you read these stories and hear what it means to people when they've lost something so special. We need good news. We really do. And this directory is full of good news.
I loved reading the stories on your site, and we'll certainly put it in the show notes so other people can read those stories. It's amazing to see the emotion that your customers have. I can only imagine what that feels like to be on the receiving end of those hugs and those tears.
I played professional soccer. My first acting gig was with Johnny Depp on 21 Jump Street. The best thing I've ever done is that it's holding a ring up to someone and seeing how it affects them. And there's nothing quite like it. I wish I would have been doing this instead of playing soccer. I honestly do, because I see how it affects people. And it's a powerful connection. And I just love it. I live for it.
Well, let's talk about the journey that got you there. You mentioned starting in professional soccer. Funny enough, you're the second ex-professional soccer player that I've talked to on this podcast. So maybe that's a theme to follow up on. But I'm always interested in how people's dreams evolve over time. Was professional soccer your first dream?
Yes, absolutely. Since I was 5 years old, I wanted to play professional soccer. And I accomplished that right out of high school. I started playing professional in the North American Soccer League. I played against some of the greats for my era back in the 70s and early 80s. And that was a dream come true. And then playing for my country. And again, I look back, what I'm doing now is the greatest thing I've ever done.
Wow. So you accomplished that first dream. If you always wanted to be a soccer player since you're 5, you're representing your country. What did it feel like when you stopped doing that? How did you think about what to potentially do next in that moment where you accomplished the dream and now it's time for the next adventure?
I bought a 65 Corvette. I drove across America and I ended up in Cancun for a year, just thinking of what I was going to do. At the same time, I had my metal detector with me and I was helping people here and there. Just people finding me on the beach saying, "Excuse me, sir, can you help? We lost something." And I was there and I found it. And this is again how it kind of hit me. And it's funny how things come at you. And I had so many different ideas for projects, but the ones that you don't really put much thought into is the ones that happen to manifest. And I started understanding there was a need. So many times people ask me for help. And I came back to Vancouver and I sat down and I started Finders. It was a very small company, but I was happy. I was getting calls here and there and always trying to find ways to promote it. Once the computers came in, I was probably getting 20, 30 calls a year. And 17 years ago, a stranger from Chicago reached out and said, "Mr. Turner, I love what you're doing in Vancouver. Have you thought of helping more people?" And I'm just like, what are you thinking? And he emailed back. He goes, "What about creating a global directory? You teach people what you're doing so they could do it in their towns and cities, because obviously you can't be everywhere." And I thought, well, that's a great idea. I go, but it's a financial thing. I don't have the money. So, like he says, don't worry about the money. You design it, you create it, and I'll pay for it. And I'm like, this is the internet, right? So I just emailed back. I go, really? So what do you want? And he goes, well, how's 25% sound? And I said, well, how's 35% sound? He goes, perfect. So he paid for everything, programmers, designers, lawyers. For the first 3 years while it was building, he paid for everything. So this guy spent a load of money to help build this. I mean, we're talking over 20,000 to start with. And then he paid for taxes for the next 3 years. And now it pays for itself. Every year I'd say, let's pay back your original investment. He said, no, no. He says, pay yourself and put it back in the company. I mean, that's an angel investor. I've never met him to this day.
I'm blown away by the story. I feel like it gives a new meaning to angel investor. That truly seems incredible.
100%. And, I did reach out to him and I said, can I ask you why? And he said, Mr. Turner, he goes, I love what you're doing. I want to be a part of the growth of it. He says, I saw the potential where this could go. I just wanted to be a part of it. He said, I love watching your videos. I love hearing the stories and seeing people's reactions. I just wanted to be on the journey. He said, my wife and I, we have a yearly budget that we can do anything we want. And I chose that year to be help you get this started. I don't need the money. I just want to see you get up and running. So I was just like, wow, amazing.
I feel like it's a really good example of how people want to be part of something. When you're passionate about something and following curiosity and doing something interesting, you're kind of magnetic and you attract people to that mission.
That's exactly right. Manifesting and believing in and doing something you truly love. It's infectious. People see it, they feel it, and they want to be a part of it. We've been on Good Morning America, Huffington Post, New York Times, Tomorrow Hall Show. There's been so much publicity on this company because of how beautiful it is. And now we have close to 300 members, 18 countries, and we're helping people reconnect with these powerful, beautiful stories.
Wow. And to think, I'm picturing you back in Cancun on the beach when this all started with your metal detector. And it seems like part of the key of the story is following your passion and your hobby, right? It started out truly as a hobby, not as a deliberate business idea, from what I understand. And you kind of went with the flow of where the need was. So as you started kind of going with that flow, did you make this your primary source of income off the bat, or did this begin as something on the side of other opportunities?
It's hard to make it it's hard to make it a primary business when you charge based on a reward. If you look at my footprint and what I created was, I couldn't charge people. I couldn't find it in myself to say, you lost your ring, I want $1,000, I want 2,000, I want 5,000, because I couldn't put a value in somebody else's ring. And I don't know what they can afford. And I never wanted anybody to feel they couldn't afford to have their ring found. So it's a footprint that anybody would look and think I was crazy, because there is an opportunity to make a lot of money here. I just leave it up to people to pay what they can afford, because I want everybody to have a second chance to find what they thought was lost forever. Now, that being said, my members, a lot of them, I'd say about 90% of them, have adopted that footprint. And people are very kind, very generous. Do I get enough calls to make this a living? Not quite yet. I have so many ideas. 2 years ago, I had this dream of buying a van, traveling across America and doing a documentary on my members. These guys are truly heroes. These guys are amazing. I met guys that are in shark infested waters looking for rings. I met guys that were in fields with water moccasins, cottonmouths, rattlesnakes, and I'm looking at him like, you guys, you do this? Like, my God, I was out there helping him. I go, don't you worry about it. He goes, nah. He says, I got snake boots. Don't worry about it. I go, but I don't. I got gum boots. He goes, I'll slow the bite down a bit. But these guys are fearless. I got guys that go after tornadoes. And after a tornado hits a town, I got a member who goes in, finds the debris trail, finds whatever's there, gold, silver, keepsakes, and takes it back to the town community center and lets people get their stuff back. The LA fires, I had members that were digging through the fires, toxic. I mean, that was really toxic. But they're all hazmat suits and they're in there digging, looking for people's gold for them. I mean, these guys are amazing. They really are. In probably 17 years, I've had probably 40 production companies come after me and trying to do a reality show. I've been promised so many things by, oh, we'll make you a star, we'll make you this, we'll make you that, you make a lot of money. It's like, no, if I don't have creative say in how I want this to look, I'm not going to do it. And I had a vision of how to do it, but nobody wanted to see my vision. Their kind of theory was, if it's not broken, don't fix it. This is how we do it. And it would have been sensationalizing. It would have been creating drama. And I found out you didn't have to do that. So I just said no to everybody, because if I did something stupid, it would have reflected on my directory and its members. So I've got an idea how we can do this, keep it absolutely true and real and beautiful.
And is that your focus now, is traveling to create that docuseries?
Yes, yeah. I found John Cryer's ring from Two and a Half Men. He was filming out here. That went viral. That got a lot of attention. I've got members who have found some really cool, cool stuff for people, and I'm piecing together something that's going to be true and based on reactions and people's stories.
I can't wait to see it. And it sounds like you had Turner's Treasure Team, where you were also looking for hidden treasure in people's homes. Is that still part of your portfolio of things that you're doing?
Yeah, Forgotten Fortunes. I just did one for a young man and his mother. I was just asked to go and make sure there was nothing left behind as they sold and cleaned out the estate. I did find a bag with what they call trophy spoons. I wasn't even aware there were such things, but there was about 25 silver spoons, and her father was a power skater. In 1916, he won spoons. They would give you a silver spoon with your name on it in the tournament. So they're called trophy spoons, and they're all silver. So she was just thrilled to get those, because her father died when she was 10. She had heard about his accolades for skating, but never had anything to hold on to. So now she's holding these things of her late father. I thought that was pretty cool. We saved that from going in the garbage. So I don't do that as much anymore, but if people call me, absolutely. And, so many people Y2K at the year 2000, a lot of people took their money out of the banks because we're all freaked out. What happens? It's going to be a big glitch and our bank accounts are going to be wiped out. So a lot of people took out their cash, bought gold, then hid it. And after everything was okay, some people put their money back, others just kept it hidden. And unfortunately, I get a lot of people dementia now, and they're asking, my husband hid something, but he's got like stage 1 of dementia. He can't remember where he put it. So I'll come in and help them retrace it and find it for him.
As you're talking, I'm imagining there's so many different business models that you could have put on this, or you still could, right? You've chosen not to take referral fees for your directory or listing fees, to my understanding. You're letting people pay what they think is right. How did you consider the multiple options about how you could build this as a business and land where you did?
When I started it, I was going to charge hourly rate and a finder's fee. So I remember the first recovery, I think I charged a guy like $100 to find it, and he paid like $30 for the hour. And I found it, and he's like, you know what? You don't charge enough. Thank you so much. And I thought, I'm happy with that. And then the next call, a lady calls and says, look, I'm so embarrassed to call you. I'm on welfare. I have 2 kids. I lost my grandmother's ring that was gifted to me as my wedding ring. And would you find it out of the kindness of your heart to help me? And right then I just went, whoa. I got to readjust this. I can't charge anybody because I didn't want anybody to ever think they couldn't afford to have their ring found. And that's when the reward bases came. And when you think about it too, it was a really good business footprint because nobody could start a business and undercut me. If I was charging $100, somebody could come in and charge $50. If I was charging $500, somebody could charge $400. Doing it reward, now that's what they have to do it for, which I think is an honorable way to do it. And I've done it for college kids for free. One kid lost a Cartier love ring. He said, Mr. Turner, I have no money. I'm a student. It's like, that's all right. Let's go find it for you. He came back with $100 after I found it. I go, wait, you said you had no money. He goes, I sold a pair of running shoes. I went, oh my God, who'd you sell to? A friend? He goes, yeah. I go buy him back. I didn't take it. And then you get somebody you find it for who's so generous and so kind. And it's that beautiful balance that I really like. Some people, yeah, will take advantage. Unfortunately, that's happened to myself and my members, but it's very slim.
Oh, that's good to hear that it's slim. Those are really beautiful stories. How has your business evolved since you started it? What are the things that you think are the most surprising evolutions?
I started the Book of Smiles way back in the day, and I didn't realize how important that book was going to be. We got 18,000 recoveries. We got 18,000 blogs. We have testimonials. This is proof that this directory actually works. So if you've lost something and you wanted to research me, you'll see I'm close to 600 recoveries, that there's hundreds of testimonials in probably 17 years. I've only had to remove 4 people from this directory for wrongdoing. Not bad. That's not bad at all.
It is extremely clear that you love your job. And I love in all of your posts that you explicitly say, I love what I do. It comes across absolutely clearly.
I do. I'm so passionate about it. I mean, my dream was created through not mistakes, not accidents, just by coincidence. I happen to be in areas where people ask me, when you see things, the universe kind of giving you signs that obviously I didn't comprehend. When I was in LA after my soccer career and people ran out looking for help, it started like kind of, okay. When I went to Cancun and all of a sudden people started, then it hit me. So if you're thinking of doing something and things start coming at you, accept it, embrace it, and go with it. I mean, I never thought I would be the CEO of such a beautiful company. Am I a millionaire? Hell no. Is there a chance to make a lot of money? Yeah, there's a chance. My thing is helping people, and how do you help more people? I mean, that's my biggest question is how can I get the ring finders out to more people? And I realized a reality show would be big, and like by saying no for so many years, I was kicking myself, but I wasn't, because again, if I was doing what somebody else wanted me to do and making up stuff, I would never have been happy with that. And going across America, living in a van, meeting my members, God, it was fun. It's a fun thing. I met so many cool people on my directory.
It sounds like if I talked to you, Chris, 10 years ago, you'd be in a very different position. Probably wouldn't guess that you'd be in a van doing this docuseries. If I talked to you in 10 years from now, what is the goal of what you think you'll be doing then?
I want more people to know the ring finders exist and give the opportunity for more people. So a docuseries or a reality show would be amazing. I have the vision on how this could be done truly. Who knows? It might happen. If there's anybody out there that listens to this and goes, hey, I got an idea how this guy can do it, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you, because I'm always looking for ideas. And I think all of us learn from other people. My dad said, when you stop learning, you die. And I'm game to learn anything I can on how to promote this at higher levels. That's what business is all about, is ideas.
That was Chris Turner talking about his journey starting and growing the Ring Finders. Check out the show notes for a link to Chris's Book of Smiles, where you can read more stories about how he and the Ring Finder Network have successfully reunited people with the things that they treasure. And if you're tired of bad news, these are just the good news stories that you need. Lastly, if you want to be the first to know about founders of unusual businesses like Chris, make sure you're subscribed to my newsletter, Nation of Doers, on Substack. I drop all of the stories there first. This is Dana Moriello, and I can't wait to see you next week on This Is a Thing.